Hey YouTube, Dave here. John Wiskowski as well. Surface Geeks. We're going to start the live podcast quickly. We always start the YouTube first, and then we start the audio. So YouTubers always get that little bit of extra. But we are going quick. Live now. From New York City, and so we got to go. Time to rock and roll.
You were roboting out there for a second.
Oh, really? I was roboting.
I've never actually heard that from you before. So hopefully it was just on my end.
Okay. Sorry, my nose is giving me.
Yeah, me too. My allergies are killing me.
Yeah, it's like I rolled into Indiana.
Whenever I
Indiana,
travel,
and my eyes just got like red.
Yeah, whenever I travel, all that dry air on the plane.
True. That is true. Which I slept for most of it because I was up all night. All right. I got to go. So I can't wait for anybody. We're going to go. This is the Surface Geeks podcast, episode number 89, recorded on April the 1st, 2015. Welcome back to the Surface Geeks podcast. I'm your host, Dave McCabe, joined with Mr. John Wiskowski. How are you tonight, John?
Great, Dave. How are you?
I am very good. I am very tired, but I'm feeling good. I literally walked into the house from traveling, and I was like, I've got to get this podcast in the books so I can get. It's mostly like I need to get on with life, you know. I need to get my taxes done so I can go on spring break with my kids.
Oh.
So I was just like, all right, we got to get a podcast done because we just came in from New York City, where we watched Surface 3 get announced and participated in that, and I've been playing all night with the Surface 3, so I have very little sleep. And John, you were able to get some hands on it with it today, and that's going to be our topic today. YouTubers are going to be talking about Surface 3. We're not going to be reviewing it. We're not going to be showing unboxings and nothing. That it's just a verbal conversation. This is an audio podcast. First, visit surfacegeeks.net. Click on the live podcast link. You can chat with us when we do this live podcast. We do have forums, and I would love to see your questions and conversations out there in the forums. So, having said that, we are members of the Geeks Network. Check out thegeeksnetwork.com for more quality podcasts like this one. So I'm getting some tweets, so I think that maybe some guys are heading out to the live chat room. And I've also invited Jim Collison. I snuck this in on you, both of you guys. I'm glad you were around. Otherwise, I was going to do this by myself. But
no, I was going to do it with or without you.
I was watching. I was watching you, and a lot of folks taking a look at Surface 3. We're really fortunate that Microsoft does the things that they do. They spring brand new gear on us, and then they drop it into the Microsoft Store, and you can just go play with it like instantly. It's a beautiful thing. I love the way they do things like that, and that's what we're here to talk about today is the Surface 3. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of update. We're going to jump right into it. First of all, I took Windows Phone, John, to New York City, and it was my primary device, and I used it for mapping, for subways, for everything. John, it got me through everything perfectly. Never once got mugged, robbed, or lost.
Great news, Dave.
And I attribute that all to my Windows Phone. So the icon, let me respond to this. I just typed icon. Yes, jump in. So the icon's doing really well. I'm enjoying the camera. I've got some great photography of New York City. Went up on top of the Empire State Building. Took some beautiful photographs. I went to the 9/11 Museum, which was just fantastic. I would implore you to visit that museum and see how busy New York has been in this last decade, taking care of that area that was so atrociously bombed. It was overwhelming. I loved it. I loved it. I found a friend of mine who was in the South Tower, and I paid my respects, got rained on a little bit, and then came back for a Surface 3 party. But I just wanted to tell you real quick that Jim, The Windows Phone got me through New York City. Never once wished I had Google Maps. Never once wish I had Apple Maps. I had my Windows Phone, and that's like the ultimate in tests. You take another man's phone with you and drop yourself into a weird area and get along. Now, granted, I've got experience with Windows Phone. I do. I've been using it for a long time,
But
but
it's a great
still,
test. You were
I
traveling.
was I was a little leery. I was like, if I'm going
Yeah.
to do this, I'm
Traveling
taking
is
it.
the ultimate test.
Yeah.
It
You know?
is. It
Yeah,
is.
if it because it really puts your phone in some awkward situations, and that's really where I struggled the most with Android. Was on the
And
road.
and I have a report. Last week I said that Cortana didn't list hours for some stores, and I found looking up some stores on this weekend this past couple days, she did list hours. So
We were actually tweeted at about that, Dave. Looks like
were we?
sometimes
Okay.
it doesn't show on the first screen, but if you click on the location, the business,
Okay.
it will provide those hours, and you can specifically ask Cortana for that information.
Excellent. So we do stand corrected. Thank you for correcting us. I must have missed that tweet, but I was correcting myself because I ran across it and I was like, holy crap! I just gave Cortana a bad name about that, but I enjoyed the heck out of my Windows Phone experience. So never once had battery issues. Never once. We got to get into some Surface 3. I don't know how long I'm going to go, but
Let's do it.
let's get into some Surface 3. So woke up. It was yesterday morning. What's today? Wednesday. It was Tuesday morning. See, I'm lost. I was up all night, John. I was up all night. Woke up and I was playing on Twitter, and then I can't remember the first tweet I saw, but someone sent a tweet like holy crap, there's a Surface 3. There's a blog post. Boom. And the Twitter sphere and the web sphere and the internet sphere was just, it was a light. It was just, man, it was on. It was kind of awesome to see, John. I don't know.
Oh, I had just arrived at work. I got off the elevator and I had a message from Darren that said Surface 3 is live. And I immediately rushed to my desk so I could have my dual monitor set up so I could get everything up.
And then you were probably cursing me, and you're like, Dave, he's in New York.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder he's in New York City. So, yes, I was invited to a get-together for Surface 3, and it was really awesome. The Surface team took care of me very well, took care of a couple of folks out there. I saw a couple of folks that I knew. I saw a lot of folks that I did not know. I knew one guy got into the elevator with me. He was about, I don't know, 8'10" and about 5,000 pounds. It was the hugest bulk of a man I've ever seen in my entire life. It was Lawrence Taylor of the New York Giants. We were checking in, and you have to have your name on the list, John, in order to get into this affair, right?
Yep.
And the girl wasn't even looking. There was a man standing in front of her, and she goes, "Your name?" She looked up at him. He goes, "Lawrence Taylor." And I'm thinking, you do not need to ask this man his name. Everybody knows this man. He was huge, and you know what? He was the nicest guy ever. Isn't that how it always works? Big star like that, kind of. He was
I
a
don't
cool
know
guy.
if it always does, so I think that's
Oh,
nice that he was
maybe it
friendly.
doesn't. Yeah,
He was smiling in all the photos I saw.
yeah. He was a pretty cool guy. He's a big man. He was a big man. Um, So I know, John, you got some hands-on with Surface 3. I was saying early in the show, how cool is it of Microsoft to, first of all, surprise the ever-loving crap out of us with a brand new device. Second, to have it in stores, 24 hours later for everyone to touch and feel. And you don't have to wait on press. You don't have to wait on me. You don't have to wait on anybody. You can go to the Microsoft Store right now and touch and play with this device. That is what's really cool about it.
Yep, I didn't have to wait for anyone's reviews or read them. I think a couple sites, maybe Windows Central and like The Verge, I saw had like a 1.5 minute, 2 minute video that I think went up on Tuesday. and then I obviously was able to see some photos on Twitter from the event that you were at and the event in LA. But I went today at lunch to my Microsoft store, and the front had been redesigned to focus all the attention on the new Surface. There's always something right up front. It's kind of on its own. For example, it was the XPS 13 for a while. Then it was the Stream 7 when that was on sale.
Right.
And then it was the Band when that came back in stock. And now it's the Surface 3. So two of those to play with, and one in portrait orientation, one in landscape with the keyboard, and then another set of Surface 3 devices. So really, there were 3 or 4 devices that you could play with. And as soon as I started playing with it, the store manager came over, and he's the most excited I've seen him in a very, very long time. So he was just telling me all about it and telling me some things that he had learned, and I had told him that I had a friend that was in New York last night, and so I had learned some things about it as well. So it was great to see. I have not seen that staff that excited, and I was there for the Surface Pro 3 event, the Windows 8.1 launch. I was there for a couple Xbox things, so they were really excited, and I was clearly not the first one to come in the store and to take a look at it.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's neat to see them so pumped up about a device that it's good for them that they can see the hype and they're not left behind. Boom, the device is in their store. So Surface 3, we'll just go over some quick specs. I know you guys are probably inundated with specs, so we'll just kind of breeze through this. You can obviously go to surface.com and read everything you need to know about it and see videos about it. 10.8-inch screen size, 1920 by 1280 HD, and very light. Kind of think about your RT tablet Surface 2 kind of size. Comes in 64 and 128 gigabyte storage configurations. Comes in 2 and 4 gig RAM configurations. Runs a 64-bit Windows 8.1, and it is an Atom processor. Now, there's always been a little bit of a stigma around an Atom processor, and it's kind of been attributed to a netbook. And I can guarantee you that, John, this is not a netbook. I know you know your processors, John. If you want to talk with me a little bit about the new Atom.
Well, I don't know as much about it technically, but I'll tell you that I have many Atom processors, and they do get a bad rap. The Asus the Asus eBook, the EPC that I have, right, has an Atom, 2 gigabytes of RAM, and eMMC storage, and I've always thought it was the RAM and the storage type that held back Atom. That Atom really wasn't that bad, but there was always these constraints put on it, like, oh, you could use an Atom, but you have to have not real SSD and limited RAM. So I think having the option of RAM and storage here is really helping it, and it is a brand new Intel Atom X7. So there's a new branding this year. I believe there's an X5 and an X7. So this is a high-end Atom part. So it's a few clicks under the i3. So anyone who's familiar with the i3 performance, the Microsoft team that I talked to today at the store says it's about 80% of the i3. Just to give you a rough ballpark, people will argue that either way, plus or minus this, that, and the GPU, the CPU.
People are definitely going to argue that.
But I think it depends on what you're doing. But let's say it's closer to an i3 than it is last gen Atom.
And I would even say it's a little higher, John. I didn't mean to cut it down a little bit. I think it's more in the like a 90 percentile range of what a Core i3 processor is capable of. And everybody knows that the Core i3 is like the most fantabulous Surface Pro 3 processor, I think, put out there.
Yep.
And
remember the big benefit of this, no fan. So
correct, no fan.
Fanless.
And it's a quad core, so it can process more threads than an i3 can,
for
honestly.
sure.
And it has some bursts ability, so you can burst that CPU, that new X7 Cherry Trail CPU, up to get some things done that you need to be getting done.
Right. It goes up to 2.4, so its smallest clock is 1.6, so it's slightly higher than the current i3, up to 2.4.
Right. It has more wireless nomenclature than I can even spew off in
Yes, I'm
this
so
book.
so happy about AC. I
A
love
through
Nissan
Z,
AC.
John. Just
Yeah, it's
it's
all there.
wireless A through Z. It's everything.
It's all there.
Yeah. Full size USB port, and it's got its typical mini display port. So this thing's going to be able to drive a display.
On that, real quick, I can confirm the same adapter sold in the stores today for the Surface Pro 3 works on the Surface 3.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure, and I was able to confirm that today.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be obviously putting it through some paces myself, and probably releasing reviews and videos that at the same time that the major outlets will release their news as well.
And obviously has a micro SD card slot like it does today, headset jack, the what they call cover port for your type cover attachments, and what's new, a micro USB charging port. And
Correct.
not some fancy, still expensive, hard to find other USB connector, but
Right.
a micro USB charging port. So what's on the bottom of your phone, if it's not an iPhone, is the same plug that that the Surface 3 charges from. So one guy just pointed out today at the store that, hey, chances are you can charge this in your car. You probably have a car charger for your
Yes.
phone, right? You could use that
Yes.
to charge the
It
Surface 3.
has a lot of battery to it, John. I was able to see at this event the insides of the Surface 3, which was really kind of cool. We got an
Nice.
inside look at the complete design of the machine. It's got a lot of battery to it. So it comes with a 13-watt adapter. Now, everybody, as the websites and the videos have been pretty adamant in pointing out that you can use your phone charger, but that phone charger has a lower wattage, a lower output. It's not going to charge it as fast, but
Yep.
you're going to be able to get some voltage out of that thing and get some more time on your battery if you need it.
Yeah, this is a kind of like a tablet to computer type, power. And there are actually USB power packs that are meant to charge devices
Mm-hmm.
up to this range. So that's a nice part too. You could actually carry an external battery pack with you, and I'm sure there'll be some maybe special ones made.
Right.
But it's nice to have that option and to not worry about the cable
Right.
if you were to forget your
So
charger.
quickly to roll through some more specs, brand new cameras, John. 3.5 megapixel front facer for your Skype sessions, for your video, and 8 megapixel autofocus. That's the big key word right there. It's an autofocus. So if you want to take pictures of checks and stuff for banking, you don't have to move the tablet up and down to get the focus. You can just
Whiteboards in
bam.
the office.
Yeah, it needed it. I think the Surface guys knew they needed it. It comes with every sensor known to man, A through Z, pretty much. It does come with that 13-watt charger. What it does not come with, John, and this is going to be the bone of contention with Surface 3. It comes with a charger and a pamphlet. That's it. Does not come with the pen, which I'm not that torn up about.
I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that.
The computing guys are fine with that. The pen guys, they're going to be like, well, Surface Pro 3 comes with a pen. Where's my pen? So I'm cool with that too. And by the way, it is the same pen as the Surface Pro 3. So I have a ton of them laying around here, and I'm just able to grab this one.
Yeah, and you can purchase them obviously
Yep,
separately.
They're going to be $50.
And they're now in
$50.
colors.
You can get cool colors.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
And I actually love that because everyone just always assumes to have a great pen it has to be included in the box and bundled in. No, the ability for that pen to work, right, has to be there, but the pen itself does not. I mean, for example, maybe you're never going to use the pen, or maybe you just you want to think about it or try it. I think that's great. If you want the pen, it's there, but they're not increasing the price of the device to give you the pen. So it's there, guys, if you want it.
Yeah, it's there. So I'm not too torn up about that. Now, keyboards. That's been the Surface thing since day one. The keyboards don't come with it.
Nope.
So you gotta pony up an extra 120 some odd bucks to get the keyboard. Now, I'm gonna tell you, here's my observations after using this thing for 24 hours. You might not want one with this one. Now that's a stretch for this Surface Geek to say, because I am the keyboard maniac when it comes to Surface Pro.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have my keyboard. This tablet is so friggin' light, John. I know you know that. You've got your hands on it. It is lighter than the first year Surface RT. It is lighter than the second year Surface 2. And it is thin.
Well,
This,
it's the lightest Surface for sure, and it's got to be one of the lightest, if not the lightest, Windows 8.1 computers.
yeah. So it's very
Outside of a 7 or
very
8 inch tablet.
fantastic as a tablet. You might not want to
Mhm.
get a keyboard with it. Now, having said that, I love the Surface 3 type keyboard. It is better than the Surface Pro 3.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way, Dave.
You will notice it. I want you to go to the store and check
Yep.
it out, listeners. I want you to go to the store and check it out. And the first thing I want you to do, don't even look at the tablet. Just grab the keyboard. It'll be laying flat. Just grab it, pinch it with your 2 fingers, and squeeze it. You're going to notice two things. 2 things. John, I know you know this. It's thicker and it's firmer. Now, this may be a joy for one Jim Collison, because Jim gets his Surface and it drives me crazy. Just drives me absolutely batty. And I'll go over to him and I'll say, Jim, you know that keyboard pops up for an angle. No, Dave.
It's got to lay down flat.
Yeah, it's got to lay down flat.
Like a laptop. You don't elevate your laptop up to some degree when you're typing on it. It needs to lay down flat. So
And
I always
Jim-
pull it down. I know they can do that. But when you pop it up, it also makes that weird typing sound. It feels hollow and
Right.
bouncy.
It's
So
bouncy.
it's good that
There's
this
your
feels,
keyword.
Yeah,
There's
it's
your
good
keyword.
this feels thicker for you, because I think that's key, right? Especially for the person who's using it like a laptop. They're going to want that firmness in there. And I like mine. I'll have to go to the store and try the new keyboards. I like these keyboards on the Pro 3. So that was, for one thing. I know John gave me a hard time about that last time, but I like that keyboard on there for
Well,
sure.
as soon as I went to the store today, I was thinking of our conversation last time, because I said, as soon as I put the Surface Pro 3 keyboard on, I like the Surface Pro 3 less. Okay, that's how much I don't like that keyboard. I as soon as I can rip it off, I will rip it off. I love this keyboard. I think it's because it's not as wide, so they're able to make it firmer, and it's holding on to that surface. And it just, and Dave, Jim, I actually used it in the angle format. That's how they were showing off. It was there was virtually no flex. I mean, a lot of lower end laptops, you push in the middle of the keyboard. That's how you kind of test it, and there's that flex, right? I mean, that's why Apple gets some of the credit that they do. Lenovo, right? They don't have that flex. I mean, obviously there's going to be a little bit of flex there, but all the issues that I had with the keyboard are away. I typed on it about a full paragraph, however many lines it was, no errors. I always make errors on the other keyboard. I even like the trackpad better, Dave.
Oh,
I don't know why, and I abhor that trackpad. I want to cut it off.
I know, and I love the trackpad. I like the trackpad.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I don't know. I didn't ask them about the engineering on the trackpad. I'm sure someone will figure this out. But it has a better track.
It feels like
for
glass,
me.
Dave. So
Yes.
as Steve Jobs would call it, the coefficient of friction is higher on that on that keyboard.
And I know, everyone, I have told you Surface Pro 3 keyboard trackpad is better. Of course, it's better than 2, but it's better than most Windows laptops out there. But this one, it does. It has a better track to it with your finger. And I think, I don't know this for sure, the click feels more comfortable. It feels better. It feels firmer. And maybe it kind of feels like it has a little more travel to it. I don't know if that's true or not. I could be completely just whacked on that. I just like the click on that keyboard. It's really nice. Really nice stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would suggest that people who want a Surface, they can purchase the Surface and enjoy it, and then later on they can pick their accessories. You don't have to walk out of that store with it. I mean, if you can get one at a deal or a bundle, yeah, but don't be afraid to go in and just buy a Surface. take it home and play with it, whether it's Pro 3, the regular Surface 3, and then you can add those accessories later. But I think this is a great keyboard. I really, really do. I think it's the best one that they've ever made. I don't have any complaints on it. And it is backlit. I was worried that it wasn't for some reason, maybe because I didn't see a lot of pictures of it in the dark. But it is a backlit keyboard.
Correct. And I'm going to say, if you don't buy the keyboard and you want to try using a tablet, maybe you should buy the pen.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this because you turn that thing vertical, you can literally handle it and wave it like this with one hand. It feels very good, very thin to use as a writing tablet.
And the handwriting recognition in Surface almost can't be beat. I'm always blown away by how well that works.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, but if you did want to use your pen as your main input device, you actually could. And Dave, I was worried when I saw the weight. So it's 1.37 pounds. I was like, man, it's a little bit more than one than I kind of want. It's going to be heavy. No, it's because of the size of the device. So yes, it weighs more than the iPad Air. Let's throw that out there. But the iPad Air is smaller, so it's more dense. So this weight is evenly distributed. I didn't feel any heavy spot. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like it's perfectly well weighted. I held it in two hands with the kickstand underneath my fingers. There's no way I was going to drop it. I never felt like once I was going to drop it. I tried landscape. I tried portrait. I tried. I just held it. I mean, I was in the store almost half an hour and was holding the Surface 90% of that time.
Yeah, and like I said, you can squeeze it, hold it at the bottom, and I was showing on video, you can move it and wave it, kind of, and it's still comfortable. So just holding a yellow pad of paper, you can hold it like that. And yeah, it's great to take notes with, and especially with OneNote, you have a bunch of functions there that you can use.
Can we talk about the kickstand?
Yes, we can talk about the kickstand.
So I was worried because that's one thing when I saw it was all right. It's a 3-position kickstand. Let's start with that. So Surface 2 was a 2-position. The Surface Pro 3 is a unlimited position or many. It's many. It's more than
right.
that. So this is 3. So 1 is there. Okay, good. 2, good, and then 3. It's nice. It's that closer to a flat angle there, which I like to when I want to type on the screen. That's one of the angles that I like. Mm-hmm. I kind of wish it had a 4th. That's going to be my only nitpick, is because I do like on the Surface Pro 3 that almost last possible option. It comes in handy every now and then, especially because I am an on-screen typer a lot of the times. So that's the only thing that if I had to change anything about this device, it's the only thing that I found so far.
Well, it does. You just have to close it and lay it flat.
Well, yes, exactly. You can close it and lay it flat. But the 3rd position is nice. It's much needed. To me, it's 90% of the time you're going to be fine.
Yeah, and a lot of you guys are going to use it in the 2nd position, the middle position. The 1st position is a very upright position. The 3rd position is a laid back, right on it. Plus, it's one of those standing position things where you have it in your kitchen, you pop it down, you tap on like a radar or a weather app or something visual, and everybody can walk by and see it. The
Yep.
family. It's not something that you have to move the screen around for everyone to see it. Everybody can see it like that. It's a great position. I wasn't that worried about it because I'm usually that middle position kind of guy, but I do love that laid back position.
I love it, yeah.
And I honestly kind of like it because it has detents, and it clicks firm and it stays where you put it. And with Surface Pro 3, I like the friction type stand, put it anywhere you want it, but I generally put it in one of those 2 modes, that middle mode and that laid down mode.
I was going to bring that up too, that then I kind of start playing with it too much. The more options you have, it's like your seat in your car, right? Once you start playing with that, you can't get that right. So you know what? I'm probably better to just giving the 3 positions. I'm going to pick the one that works best depending how I'm sitting, laying wherever I am. So Yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. And while we're talking about the kickstand, there's something new on the back of that kickstand, so which I really, really like. I think it really stands out. But
Well, it goes back to a blog post, not a blog post, but the podcast I did by myself, where I told you guys that I think we're seeing our last version of Windows. That's coming true. Uh, we have seen uh, more and more Microsoft products being called a Microsoft product and not a Surface. So on the back is a mirrored finish window logo and not a big word of Surface. This is Microsoft. So it looks really cool.
and it's a real premium look to it. Um, Apple's coming out with the new MacBook, and this is what they've switched to. Instead of the glow logo, it's kind of that shiny aluminum metal, and it just looks great. It's a high quality logo.
I'm glad you said MacBook. I want to come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about that a little bit. I took a picture today of Surface 3, and I think it's going to be the best picture of the device ever. I was downtown New York City at the W Hotel, and I was putting the Surface 3 in some spots where I could take its picture, right? Make it look kind of cool, get my stock photos for the blog posts, all that kind of good stuff. I arranged it so a reflection of New York City was inside the window, and it was a building with windows. I thought this is the coolest thing ever, and it looks really cool. So I'm proud of that picture. Like I said, there will be a time when the big dogs, the Verges and Gadgets and stuff, release their reviews and stuff, and we'll release our content right alongside it. But that doesn't mean that we can't talk about it, and that doesn't mean that you can't go to the Microsoft Store and get your hands on this device too and do your own review. I mean, John spent 30 minutes at this thing, so that's kind of cool. Now,
I'll be going back.
yeah, absolutely. I remember I did the same thing. I remember doing the same thing. Like when Surface Pro 2 came out, I was at the store gawking. A lot of folks are comparing this to iPad, and I still think that we shouldn't be comparing this thing to iPad. And I think, I mean, this is a premium kind of laptop. It's not the Surface Pro line. It feels a niche before that. There's finally something that you can say, oh, here's one for $500. Go get this one. But it almost makes me think, we're talking about like the what's the little thin MacBook, the MacBook Air. The little bitty MacBook Air.
The new MacBook. Oh no, you're trying to compare it to the Airline where you have options.
To the Airline.
Right. Okay.
Where you have two screen sizes, and now you kind of have two screen sizes as well for your Surface. But the cool thing about Surface 3 is you pick that thing up in the Microsoft Store. I want you to turn it around in your hands in a flat manner and find where the CPU fan ejects.
Yep.
Keep turning it because you're not going to find it. There are no perforated edges on this thing.
Yep.
And
it's lighter, obviously. I mean, yeah. I'm trying to get the weight on the new type cover, but I'm pretty sure the new Surface with the type cover is less weight than even the new MacBook. I bet it's less than 2 pounds, or it's pretty darn close to it. So you can. One of my problems with the Surface Pro 3 is you add that keyboard, you get a little hefty, to me, in my mind, because you're over 2 pounds.
Yeah.
You're like 2.5 or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
I can see
so
that.
I think this is a great site. They're saying that a lot. Just put it under your arm and go. Put it in your purse and go. Put it in your bag and go. Now, the one thing that bothered me we keep saying, wouldn't it be great to have the keyboard included? We know all these people that are using iPads with a keyboard. Well, you know what? Those keyboards, the decent ones, especially the ones they sell in the Apple Store, are $100 or more.
Yeah.
So really, I feel you have a pretty good, competitive price.
Have you seen what they do to the size and weight?
Right. Well, yeah, it's a
They
whole
don't
other story.
they don't thin down their keyboards whatsoever.
And I think it makes it
You look
ugly.
at their
Yeah.
cases and they're ginormous. Yeah.
Yep. And
And you
remember,
get back to that where you have to click it into the case, and there's a little detent into the leather case for the iPad. It's completely unstylish whatsoever.
yeah.
What the case manufacturers have done
So
to Johnny Ive's little creation.
So two things we didn't mention yet. The first is you get Office 365 for a year.
That's
So
right.
that's another bonus. So that's one less thing to buy, right? You're going to have Office, and this fall or summer, I should say, you're going to have Windows 10. You'll have new versions of Office, all new versions of the built-in apps that look great from what we're seeing. This is some great
Correct.
stuff coming. So you're going to buy this now if you want, and you're almost going to feel like you get a brand new version of it in the summer because it's like a complete upgrade. I mean, it's even bigger than going from iOS 6 to 7 or anything like that. I mean, you're almost going to get a whole new machine.
Yeah.
But one of my biggest complaints was I want to spend $500 on a computer. I think that's a nice round number, Dave. It's not $100 or $200, and it's not $1,000, right? It's $500. There's not a lot of good options out there for $500. They're big, they're heavy, they don't have SSDs. You know that they have a Celeron, or they got a 1366 by 768 screen. That's a non-IPS screen. I can go on and on and on why you're not going to have a great experience with that, and you're going to feel like I should have spent a little bit more money. You're not going to have that with this device. You're going to feel great on whether you get the $499 price point or the $599 price point. It's all about how, for those two price points, it's all about how you're going to use it. Are you going to do more consumption than work? You can spend $499. You can do a little bit more work than consumption. Go ahead and spend the $599. And pick your accessories as you need them. We didn't even talk about the dock, Dave. I mean, it's the first time a non-pro device has a dock.
Yeah.
With full connectivity. This can be your computer, and for a lot of users, this will be more than enough computer.
Yeah, absolutely. This can be docked inside its own special dock, and which is really kind of cool. That kind of surprised me that they would, dock this product, but that just shows you that it is a true computer, and it will be able to perform well as your desktop machine.
So I kind of mentioned two models, right? $499 and $599. RAM and storage bumps on both, but there's something else coming, Dave.
There is something
near and dear to
else
my heart.
Very near and dear to your heart, and believe me, they were very, very happy to announce this. They were just giddy to say, we now have a device that will have LTE, and it will be truly a mobile device wherever you are. And let me tell you, there was applause. There was definitely applause at LTE coming. So
multi-carrier support too.
Multi-carrier. There's not a whole lot of details out there.
From what I can gather so far, there'll be a model up for sale on the store, and then T-Mobile and Verizon are also going to have them available for sale through their sales channels.
Right.
So my hope is the model from the Microsoft Store is multi-carrier. It's AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, maybe even others, right, depending where you live. And then if you wanted to go to a T-Mobile store or Verizon store or their websites, they'll have carrier-specific models, maybe some kind of $100 off if you get a plan, kind of what they do today with various tablets that are out there. So that's what I'm hoping for. But, of course, the details are still light.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. We will definitely find out about that later. And obviously the details about the release date as well. It's still coming soon. But everyone seems to speculate, it's going to be a summertime release.
Well, there is a date on the store. I don't know why people keep speculating. It's there. You just have to go and buy it. So you just go to your products, Surface 3. You want to pre-order, and there's 4 models up there, and you highlight one of the LT models, and the date is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the date. I did say the date earlier, John. So
yeah, it was
like a June 6th or something
like June 28th or something.
Yeah, I had June 25th, 26th was what I remember.
Okay.
Should have screenshotted it. But so, yeah, I would assume, I don't know what you'd call that, mid to late summer, something like that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so 64 gig, 2 gig Wi-Fi edition, $499. Bump that up. Double it to 128, 4 gigabytes of RAM with Wi-Fi's $599. And then we don't know the prices with the same configuration with LTE.
No, one of these sites that I read says it'll be $100. It'll be $100 bump, and what's nice, it's available on both models. You don't have to just get the high end. You'll have the option to get either model. So I'm hoping it's just $100 more. So either $599 or $699. So
I can see that. Somewhere around that number is probably
yeah,
correct.
maybe 130. In the past, these things are typically 130 or more, but I'm hoping Microsoft is able to do us a solid here and keep that at right about 100.
Yeah. And what people are opponents are going to gravitate towards, well, this is $800, you know. So they're going to throw price into your face, and then they're about adding on a keyboard as well, and then the pen. So
That's about $1,000 then. For about $1,000, you can have a truly mobile computer/tablet. It can be whatever you want to be.
correct. Without a fan blazing at you like your MacBook Air, which I had an Air at one time, and it was a good little laptop, 13-inch, and it was no touchscreen, it was no Surface, and you could hear it. It sounded like a plane taking off when the fan got up and running. So, all right, is there anything we missed on Surface 3?
So you can go into your Microsoft Store today and check it out. Dave, you can also pre-order it at a Microsoft Store for no cost. No deposit, no down payment, no nothing. You can just reserve one for launch day.
Okay.
You can pre-order the non-LT models today on Microsoft Store online. Amazon and Best Buy also started taking pre-orders as well.
Okay, very good. The pen options are blue, red, black, and the standard silver fare right here.
To match the type covers mostly, there's a new type cover option, I believe.
Correct.
Bright red.
Bright red, very bright red, which I love. I love the red type cover, so awesome. You can pre-order the dock. I don't know if it has a delivery date to it, John. Did you guys talk about that any when you did your store visit?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I probably should have, but yeah, I guess we just don't know yet, so I won't even speculate.
I just clicked it, and it's slowly coming up. Obviously, you can pre-order the type cover as well, the Surface Pen, and probably should get Microsoft Complete just in case you do walk out of the store and get hit by a bus, somehow survive, but your Surface is broken. That was pretty horrible of me to say that, but ships by May 5th, Surface 3 docking station. And the dock is huge. This is quite the different looking dock. So, really kind of cool. Looks like it's kind of the same blackish material as Surface Pro 3 dock. Gives you all kinds of extra ports on the back. Let's go into tech specs and see.
2 USB 3, 2 USB 2,
Correct.
Gigabit Ethernet, 3.5 millimeter in and out, mini display port, security lock, and storage for the Surface Pen.
Storage for the Surface Pen.
So Dave, is it just look larger because the device isn't as large, so on the Pro you're able to go above it with
Maybe
that
so.
2 extra inches of screen, and in this case there's no need for that. So
Right. Comes also with a 48-watt power supply. You guys know how I feel about docks and that extra power supply. It's like the coolest thing ever. When you take a look at the price of the dock, which is $199, you can kind of subtract the cost of a spare power supply, because now your dock is upstairs in your office and your other power supply can go somewhere else. That 13-watt mini USB charger can go somewhere else, and you can quickly charge up your phones, and if you have other tablets, Dell tablets, HP, whatever, that'd be nice to have. It's one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try charging little things like my HP Stream 7, which you see always has a cord attached to it. I'm going to try charging this thing, see if it charges up fast. And the Toshiba, I don't even remember what this is called, Toshiba Encore Mini. It's a 7-inch as well. See if I can charge it fast.
it could be a misprint on the site, but they show a picture of the Surface 3 power supply, and it does have that extra USB port on it, which I really like. So you can charge a secondary device from it.
The one that comes with the dock.
Oh no, I'm looking at if I wanted to buy an extra Surface 3 power supply.
Okay. The one that comes in the box does not.
Okay, I have a feeling this is a mistype. Yeah,
Okay.
because yours looks more like a wall wart, correct?
It is a wall wart.
Yeah.
It's a very dense wall wart. You can
Yep.
tell that this is a nicely made power supply, and it's got some windings of copper in there to pump out that extra 13
Is the
watts.
cable removable or is it built in?
The cable is removable.
Okay, so I'm looking at the right picture then.
The cable is, it's hefty. Let me tell you, John, it is a hefty wound cable. It is not. This is probably going above and beyond what I'm supposed to be doing. But this is like what you get with your phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
That typical USB thing. The Surface 3 has, it's almost like a little adapter
Yeah,
that kind of looks like it goes with a computer, right? It's
you
not
can
like
see it in the store. Yep.
okay, so you can see it and it's got a little light on it.
Yep.
So it kind of plugs in and it looks like it belongs, right? It's not just sticking out of the side like a cable. You know, they put some thought behind it.
It's going to hold it. It's not going. Sometimes you can break your USB port on your devices, depending how they're made and what kind of cables used. Right, you're not going to have that problem here. This is going to attach and it's going to stay on. And if you happen to yank on it a little bit, you're not going to impact the connector. I don't think. I think you're going to be fine. It's probably designed where if there's any damage, it's to the actual power supply over the surface.
Yeah. I mean with this kind of USB port, I mean there's ways of damaging it. It's not
Oh yeah,
it's not that quick release like you have with the Surface Pro 3, and it's not the cumbersome, I can't find it in the dark power connector that the Surface Pro 2 is. Even the Surface Pro 3 can sometimes be cantankerous if the cable is not, bending the right way. It's hard to find it to get it to click in, but it's still a pretty nice little adapter. But the cool thing about this one is I know you've got 500 cables laying everywhere, and you've probably got like 10 wall warts laying around, which I have several as well. Let's go to the chat room. Is anybody, I'm going to throw this out there. I see a lot of guys out in the chat room. Does anybody have any questions real quick before we shut this thing down? And I know that these guys are on a 30-second delay on the live chat, so we'll let them hit me with some questions, and we will talk about those. And it's good to see you guys out in chat. Yoda, Vinyl, Chris, Bays, Clark B, Bobson, Jose Ortiz. I saw you chatting earlier. Vinyl Freak, Rennie, other Jim. It's good to see you guys out there. I know this was kind of a quick. Literally, I walk in the door. Hi, kids. Daddy has the podcast. So, is it going to be acceptable for gaming? I think if this thing's going to game your smaller games, I don't think you're going to put in Crisis and expect to get a very good FPS. John, what do you think? I think
yeah, I mean, I think we'll have to wait and see. Of course, of course, stores, the games from the store, right? You're not going to have any problems at all, probably.
Oh no, yeah.
Depending on, unless I mean, even
Jungle Run and stuff, yeah, and
Frozen,
Jewel Magic or whatever, whatever's in the store is going to run fine.
So, and then depending, I guess, on the GPU, we'll have to see where we fall in with i3 territory. But again, just expect i3-ish range,
Yeah. I would say that. Expect i3-ish type performance, which it's going to run the big games. It's going to run the big games. I'm pretty sure. I don't know how well it's going to run it. You want me to put Halo on it like I did with the Dell Venue Pro 8? Got a lot of hits on that video.
Yeah. Too bad this doesn't mean much to me, but it has Intel HD graphics. The base frequency is 200 megahertz, burst is 600 megahertz, 16 execution usage units, does support Intel wireless display. Up to 3 displays supported. That's the chipset, not the Surface 3, I should clarify.
There's a question, is it going to run Photoshop and Lightroom? No problem, absolutely. I mean, it's going to run that stuff. you go try to do, like a 3D render, and obviously it's not going to be as fast as an i5 or an i7. So, yeah, figure out where it falls, guys. Just like we said, it's you got the i3 here, and you got the Atom X7 just right below it. We're talking about a 90 percentile hit on the i3. It's just right below it. Plus, this thing is a quad core, and so it's going to be able to process a couple of extra cores, unlike the i3. So that's the questions coming through the chat room, guys. That's where we're kind of bouncing around. We do live chat every time we do the live podcast, and you can get that at surfacegeeks.net and click on the live podcast link. We're usually live every other Wednesday. So we've been doing a lot of back-to-back, but I can tell you now, right now, next week there'll be no podcasts. So you guys are off. You're free to podcast on your own. I will be at a beach somewhere enjoying some margaritas. Not senioritas, 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds. We kicking sand and having some fun.
So just per Microsoft, if you do very demanding work like editing and rendering video or complex 3D modeling, you'll want the Pro 3. If the majority of your work is less intensive, office, writing, using the internet, either IE, Chrome, or Firefox, and casual games and entertainment, then you'll find the Surface 3 delivers everything you need.
So you obviously pick that. There's a little like checkbox program you can go through there. What's important to you? Screen size or weight? What kind of software do you want to run on your Surface? How many programs do you need to run simultaneously? How much storage do you need? Do you need to connect to more than one external display? And how critical is your budget? You answer those questions on the Surface.com site. Actually, it's the Microsoft Store site. And it'll spit out the best Surface for you. So let's go. I want the lightest device possible. I'm going to do desktop stuff, Chrome, Office. I only need to run, let's say I need to run several desktop programs as well. Let's go mid-range. I think I'm 128. One external monitor is fine for me. How critical is your budget? Very critical. It has told me to pick the Surface 3 with 128 gigs of storage. Now, if you go up here and change it to, where's the screens? More than one external display. You're still on Surface 3. But if you click anything like 256 or 512, you're going to go up to Pro 3. If you click professional grade programs at the same time, you're definitely going to go up to Surface Pro 3. So.
Yeah, so I went ahead and completed it, and it says I need the Surface 3 with 64 gig storage and 2 gigabytes of RAM. So in theory, if I get the model that I'm interested in, the 128 and 4 gigs, I'm protecting myself. Yeah,
you're set.
You are
Dave,
set.
Rob asks in chat, he thinks does the imminent, the imminency of Windows 10 change people's opinion about buying the Surface 3 now?
absolutely not.
I don't think it has any
Average consumer, though? For us, we understand what's coming. They just know there's an upgrade coming. Of course, the Microsoft folks will say it's free, but does that hold some people off just a little bit?
Okay.
Go ahead, Dave.
Let me tell you a conundrum I'm in. I have a family member that needs a laptop, and I feel more comfortable recommending a Windows 10 laptop to this family member than I would a Windows 8 laptop to this family member. So it does put me in a predicament where, yes, I would hate to put them into something and that they would dislike the device because it's 8.1 and they don't understand it. This is a person that's has an XP machine and a Windows 7 machine, and they understand those worlds perfectly. I think they would have zero problem moving over to Windows 10. I think they would have a lot of problem moving into Windows 8.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think you're going to find those people, maybe they're Windows 7 users. You're going to put them on Windows 8 right now, and then this shift kind of back to Windows 7, although it's not really I mean, people keep saying that. I'm running Windows 10, and yeah, there's some similarities, but it's different too.
Yeah,
So, you know,
I think it's really different from the
yeah.
time I've spent with it.
Well, you think Windows 10 from Windows
Windows 10.
7?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I don't, and it keeps changing. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things you're like, guys, they still don't have the touch points down. I mean, I think I don't think where they're at with the touch points on like the browsers and those things, I don't think those are still permanent yet because they're still tiny. And maybe it's because I'm doing it on the Surface here, but um, we got some work to do before Windows 10 comes out. I don't know. I think it's a sketchy time. To Rob's point there, the non-technical, yeah, they're going to have to go through a major change. You know?
Clark B points out 10 is less different than 8.
Well, then 8X, but
Yeah, it's
nobody's
less
on
different
8.
because there's a little
Nobody's
button
on 8
down
though.
there, and you click it, and things pop up
Yeah.
and give you
Okay.
options. And you're like, okay, well,
Okay.
my icons look like little windows now, and they
I
move
actually
and jiggle
find
around.
I
And
actually find the Windows 10 start menu more confusing than but I can understand how it's
I
a little
know.
bit.
Yeah.
It's a weird sorting thing, right? Because it's not the sorting's different, so that's
A
confusing
quote
too.
from in the
But
chat room from Jose Ortiz. Here you go. I bought XPS 13 for my sister, and she loved it, but was very confused by Windows 8.
yeah,
I think that is more prevalent than you and I will ever know. I think that is the majority. That quote right there is the majority of folks coming from 7 to
I
8.
don't know. With if you're still on 8, original 8, which I think a lot of people think of, maybe. But I run 7 and 8 right next to each other now, and there aren't. I never. Now, granted, I never go to that start screen. Right, I never do it when I'm on the desktop. But I don't know. I
Yeah, I
think
do. I don't mind it, but I'm a tech guy. I'm used
right.
to it. I've been running it forever. But you, Jim Collison, are not Jose Ortiz's sister.
True. Very true.
and it
Thank
depends if you have
Jose is
touch or
happy
not.
about that.
And it depends if you have touch or not too. I think if you don't have touch, that start menu
Yeah.
can be a little
Yeah.
jarring. But that's a good point. I mean, I just wonder, will the average consumer say, "I'm not buying a PC because Windows 10 is coming"? Like it's, the more PC type world I was in was the Mac world, and we sort of didn't do that because we always knew Apple was gonna allow us to upgrade either inexpensively or for free. And even on launch day, you'd go and get a new Mac. They would back in the day, they just threw the CD in the box. It didn't even come preloaded with it. So I don't know, but I wonder if, like you're saying, Jim, will people wait? But I guess the big key here is, as long as when Windows 10 comes out, you can go to the Microsoft Store and buy their lineup with Windows 10, I think it will be fine. But will this hurt sales? I mean, hopefully people that need something will purchase it now. I think if people getting a graduation present, I guess this just makes it in time, almost, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For your
I think Microsoft is doing it right, and they're just throwing it out there very front and center in front of you. Office 365 for a year for free.
Yeah.
Windows 10 upgrade when it comes out this year for free. That people like that kind of crap.
Well, and I don't think people go shopping with the idea that they're not going to come back without something, right? It's just like, hey, I'm going to go get a PC. I'm going to get the best one I can. They may shop one or two stores, but at some point they're going to make a decision, and they'll probably just say, well, I'll go with what's on it right now, and if an upgrade's coming, I'll handle it when it gets here.
Mm-hmm.
But I've watched people go into stores like that. They're like, you know what? I'm coming. I'm buying today. You're going to sell me something in this store, and I'm leaving with something in my hands. So I don't know. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't stop them.
Here's what I hope for, and this is what I would. I'm sure Microsoft would hope for too. The more and more people I talk to that work in education are bemoaning the fact that there are iPad 2s inside their enterprise, because these are enterprises. They have IT groups, they have servers, they have people that manage all this stuff. And these iPad 2s are getting aged, they're getting broken. The 30-pin cables, they are wearing out, they're wearing down, and I see this as a device that could go into schools and just turn everything around for these schools to be able to have a managed device. When these guys, these IT departments, they know Windows servers, they know Windows management, and they would be able to to manage these devices. Now, having said that, we have skipped over something that happened last week that is just ginormous, and we need to talk about this on the next podcast. We definitely don't have time today, but that is the changes to the UEFI and the firmware. So it's big changes. Management groups and IT groups are going to love that a lot. Are there any questions I'm missing out there in chat, guys?
No, I think you got them.
I think we're good. I'm excited. Surface 3. Jim, you're going to love it.
Yeah, no, I think it's looking good.
Yeah, I think you're going to like it a lot. You need to get out to your pop-up.
Yeah, I should have done that. I had the day off. I should have headed over there, and I had a busy afternoon, and so by the time I got word of it, it was everything the day had already gotten by me. But no, from what I see, excited about the future of Surface for sure.
Yeah, it's a good-looking device. Look forward to reviews, and guys out there, get out there and go to your store, go see it, and let's start some chatter in the forums about this thing. I don't know if you can see it. I've been hiding it in plain sight. If you're on YouTube, there it is in plain sight for you to see. I've promised that I wouldn't do any full reviews or unboxings or anything spectacular until everybody has had time to do so. There's a drop dead date, and that's a date in the future. I got to figure out how to do it because I'm going to be on spring break. So
Take it with you.
I might have to get everything done and then schedule the posts. Cause
Let me know if you need any help, Dave.
Okay, because I get yelled at when
On spring break or on the unboxing?
I'm not a spring break guy anymore, so at the unboxing.
You live in spring break land.
Yeah, man. I can't wait
about.
for it to end. There's traffic everywhere, man.
I know it.
Can't go anywhere.
I know it. Hey, thanks everybody who joined the live podcast. I know you came out on last minute notice, as well as you guys. Follow John Wiskowski at John Wiskowski. That you'll find that in the show notes. Follow
At Jay Wiskowski.
Jay Wiskowski. I said John Wiskowski. Jay Wiskowski. If you need help with that spelling, go to the show notes for this post. I usually put that out there. Mr. Jim Collison can be found at theaverageguy.tv, and he also tweets by the name of Jay Collison. And I can't forget that you guys are both members of the Geeks Network, and with the guys, they've got me the artwork for the new ads. I got 2 new podcasts. I've got the artwork. I just have to load it onto the site, and I'm afraid it's not going to happen until after spring break. So I apologize to these guys for it. But I listened to one of their podcasts on the way when I flew to New York, and I just loved it. So I'm really excited to add these guys. Jim, we have another podcast. We're gonna add 3.
Yep.
Probably in mid-April to late April. We're gonna add 3 new podcasts to the network. Super excited about it. I've got a new sponsor for Home Server Show. It's the biggest sponsor I've ever had in my history of running this podcast and now running this network, the Geeks Network. So, huge sponsor, and I'm very proud to have them on board. And you'll have to listen to Home Server Show. Still talking with them about some things, but we do have contracts. Yeah, the chat room is. You guys didn't see that, did you? Chat room did not see that, guys. Hiding in plain sight, right there. I mean, I could literally do this. Let's just do this. This is Pro 3.
It's the logo. That's how you know. That's what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And I talked about it earlier, Dave. Kind of hinting at it. I should have said.
So he
was hiding it.
I was hiding it. You moved the mic cable. You can see that real shiny logo back there.
It's so little.
It is so little. It's cute. It's a cute little guy. It's a powerful little guy, and I'm really stoked to have it. And this may be my go-to device, guys. This may replace the i3 just because I think I'm starting to more and more become a pen guy. I like ticky-tacking on that screen with the pen, almost kind of like a mouse. And then this thing is so light, I like to flick it around and write on it. So I've got some other news that I may share with you. I don't know yet exactly how I'm going to handle it, and it has to do with the Surface 3 and maybe the most primo deal ever. But I don't know if I can share that with you yet. I really need to kind of run that by some other people, and I may just consume that all myself. But maybe I might have some more news for you, and that would go to probably my guys that listen to the podcast, you guys that listen to Surface Geeks every week in and week out, and probably come out and chat too. So I just don't know, and I shouldn't even have said anything, should I? Because I just don't know yet.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
I shouldn't have. I just got everybody salivating. There's something else. There's something else. But has to do with friends and family. We'll just keep it like that. Just keep it like that. Okay, guys, this has been Surface Geeks 89. We're getting near 100. And don't forget Meetup. I have done nothing on Meetup, but it will be September 12th, 2015. You will see both of these guys on screen at the Meetup, and we will have, I'm sure we're going to have Windows 10 to play with. I'm sure we're going to have Surface 3s to play with, and hopefully we'll have just some other kind of surfaces to play with. That would be really kind of cool, too. Thanks for podcasting with me tonight, guys.